Good morning, students. Today I am discussing the topic of charge uh, as per the Companies Act 2013. What is the meaning of the term charge as per Section 2, Section 16 of the Companies Act 2013? Charge basically is a right created by any person, including a company, referred to as the borrower on its assets and properties, present in future, in favor of financial institutions or bank, referred to as a lender, which has agreed to extend financial assistance to the company in return of the interest which the banks earn, the financial institution earn by giving loans and advances to the company for the purposes of investment in their projects. Charge is basically a right created by any person over their properties uh, towards banks or financial institutions for the purpose of creating security over the assets of the company, properties of the company, either present by nature or future by nature, uh, in favor of financial institutions or bank, uh, as referred to as a lender, uh, which is agreed to extend the financial help or you can say assistance to the company by giving finance in the form of loans and advances to the company. And they credit charge over their assets so that when the company is not able to pay their dues on time, pay their interest on time, in that case, the bank will utilize that particular property or assets of the company for the purpose of repayment of their amount dues uh, to the company and interest due to the company. So for that purposes, the charge credited over the assets can be utilized. Uh, this is a definition given as per section 2, section 16 of the Companies Act 2013. It is amendment in the Companies Act in the year 2013, that is a complete act enacted in the year 2013. That defines the term charge. That is any interest only which created on the assets of the company or any property of the company, any equipment of the company, or any other assets of the company, either fixed by nature or floating by nature or current assets by nature, or any of its undertakings, both as security and includes a mortgage. There are certain special features of the charge which created over the assets of the company, properties of the company, as per the Companies Act 2013. Number one is point is that there should be two parties to the transaction: the creator of the charge and the charge holder. These are the two parties involved in the transaction relating to a charge. The person who created the charge over the assets of the company and the charge holder. So these two are the person who are responsible for the charge creating over the assets or properties of the company. The two parties involved in that particular transactions of charge. The number one person is the creator of the charge and the person who the charge holder. So creator of the charge is the uh, company and the charge holder is the bank. So the subject matter of charge, which may be current or future assets and properties of the borrower, that is subject matter of charge that is mentioned in the documents of charge, register of charge. The subject matter of charge, which may be a current or future assets and other properties of the borrower, that is mentioned as a subject matter of charge in the register of charge, may be current by nature or future assets of the company or other properties of the borrower. So the intention of the borrower to offer one or more of its specific assets or properties as security for repayment of the borrowed money together with payment of interest at the agreed rate should be manifested by an agreement entered into by him in favor of the lender written or otherwise. A charge may be fixed or floating depending upon its nature. So the intention of the borrower, the person who borrows the money from the banks or financial institutions, their intention is to of the borrower is to offer one or more of its assets. Specific assets means that is specified for that particular purposes of charge created over the assets of the company, and that assets must be specified, must be defined, or properties must be specified, must be defined as a security for the purpose of being used as a security for the repayment of the amount due to the bank with interest as agreed by the bank or between bank and the company in favor of the lender or otherwise. A charge may be fixed or floating, uh, depend upon its nature, whether it is fixed by nature or floating by nature, but it is depend upon the nature of the charge. If you're creating a charge over the fixed assets of the company, that charge is called as fixed charge. And if you created a charge over the floating assets of the company, that is the current assets or liquid assets of the company, that charge is called as the floating charge. So, charge may be fixed by nature, may be floating by nature as per the characteristics of the charge, but it's create a agreement. Charge create an agreement between the company and the bank and financial institutions who provide loans, advances, or borrowed capital to the company in the form of loans and advances, whether secured by nature, unsecured loans, advances are there, secured loans, advances are there. The intention of the borrower is to uh, offered in that charge, because that creates a transaction or agreement between two parties. One is the creator of the charge, another is the charge holder. So the creator of the charge is by the company and the charge holder is the bank. So a charge may be fixed or floating. I've already explained you this line. It is may be fixed or floating depending upon its nature. uh, Fixed charge is there, a floating charge is there. So as agreed rate manifested by an agreement entered into by the company in the favor of the lender. It must be written form, but it must be written form specifically or otherwise. Then, as per Section 100 of the Transfer of Property Act 1882, when an immovable property of one person is by act of parties or operation of law made security for the payment of money to another, and the transaction does not amount to a mortgage. This is as per the definitional charge given in Section 100 of of the Transfer of Property Act 1882, when an immovable property of one person is by act of parties or by operation of law, whosoever applicable to the company made security for the payment of money to another person, another banks, financial institutions, and transaction does not amount to a mortgage. The later person is said to have a charge on the property, and the provisions which apply to a simple mortgage shall so far as may be applied to such charge. This is a definition as per the Transfer of Property Act 1882 that defines the term charge with an immovable property of one person, that is a tangible by nature, fixed by nature, by act of parties or by operation of law, made security, use as security for the purpose of payment of money to another, uh, and the transaction does not amount to a mortgage. The later person is said to have a charge on the property, and all the provisions which apply to a simple mortgage such shall so far as may be applied to such charge. This is about the definition as per the Transfer Property Act 1882, Section 100, in respect of the charge. Then come to the word mortgage. A mortgage is a legal process whereby a person borrows money from another person and secures the repayment of the borrowed money, and also the payment of interest at the agreed rate by creating a right or charge in favor of lender or his movable and immovable property. That is a legal process. Mortgage is a legal process, and in that process, one person borrows money from another person and secures the repayment of borrowed money. It must be secured. Uh, there must be, meaning is that the assets of the person who obtain loans and advances can be utilized for the purpose of repayment of dues of the company towards the bank or financial institutions. Uh, that that is called as a mortgage. Although it is a legal process, that it also involves borrows money from another person and secures the repayment of the borrowed money. Also, the payment of interest at the agreed rate, whatever rate you decided with the banks or financial institution, that at that rate you have to pay interest to the bank. That is an agreement. It is an agreement between the banks and the company in regard to payment of interest as decided on between these two parties by creating a right or charge in favor of lender or his movable or immovable properties of the company. So it is that process. Although there is a difference between a mortgage and charge, but mortgage are also a legal process. Uh, and it also involves some terms as same as used in charge as well. That is a legal process that involves uh, payment, borrowing of money from banks and financial institutions, and for repayment of that amount, some interest and charge has been created over the assets of the company, either movable by nature or immovable by nature. Uh, can be utilized by the bank for the purpose of payment of the amounts due to the company. Then there's a definition given in Transfer Property Act 1882 in respect of mortgage. According to section 58 of the Transfer of Property Act, a mortgage is the transfer of interest in specific immovable property for the purpose of securing the payment of money advanced or to be advanced by way of loan, an existing and future debt, or the performance of an engagement which may give rise to pecuniary liability. So this is a definition given in section 58 of Transfer of Property Act. Mortgage is the transfer interest in specific immovable property for the purpose of security payment of money from banks or financial institutions by way of loan, by way of advances. So you are the act as a creditors that is under common liability section of balance sheet. So this is your, you are act as a creditors for the not creditors for the bank, but for banks you are the debtors. You have to pay the amount whatever you are obtaining from banks and financial institutions. You have to pay that amount with interest to the bank. So you are not creditors, but you are the debtors of the company. But for your, for the company, it is a credit. You have to pay. You have to pay your liabilities to pay interest amount and the main amount, the full amount you have to pay to the bank or financial institutions, whether it is existing loan of the company or future loan of the company, future debt of the company, or the performance of an engagement which may give rise to pecuniary liability. This is a definition as per section 50 of the Transfer Property Act. A mortgage is the transfer of an interest in specific immovable properties, that is immovable, or you can say tangible, you can say tangible properties, or otherwise used for the purpose of getting loans, advances, money, finance, for the purpose of investment into the capital of the company, either in the form of corporate capital of the company, that it also includes the debentures of the company for the purpose of securing uh, loans and advances existing or future debt.